What's up, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers? This is your boy PorterRock77 coming back at you with another video. Check out the description box. There you'll see the link to my Twitter. Hit me up there with a follow so we could continue the conversation. You also see the link to my PayPal if you choose to donate and support the channel. But if you don't, it's all good. I appreciate what you're doing, which is viewing the content. If you're new to this channel, if you enjoy the content, then hit the subscribe button. And for everybody, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed this content. All right. Kind of down right now. So as you know, I'm gonna go right into it. So the video I was supposed to make was pretty much what you see here in the image. I'll probably make the image bigger for you to see. All right. But it says right here. New IP with the Coalition Studios 2017, currently in production. Please check back for further updates. All right. So this was pushed out, and I think the gaming community was excited. I was excited, especially with this being coupled with rumors of a Perfect Dark returning, rumor of Fable making a return, and rumors of Mech Assault making a return. All of that combined got me excited, because it's a game, I know I like to poke jabs on Xbox fanboys, primarily because, I'm more, my preferred platform is the PlayStation. So, I do my jabs against Xbox fanboys, but vice versa. I could give a punch and I take a punch, they come at me, but in the end, I enjoy gaming. That's why, for example, you see me on the multiplayer podcast. If you don't know, I'm on, every Thursday, Next Gen 720. The Bot Father, he has the multiplayer podcast, and I do whatever podcast he wants me, he invites me to. I'm welcome to talk gaming. I talk to a lot of Xbox dudes. I've been on the GRG podcast. I'll go on whatever podcast. I've been on the Quest podcast. I rock with any gamer. I have no issues. And stuff, me poking jab and talking shit and calling out fanboys and stuff like that has nothing to do with the box itself and stuff. There's expectations I have with every console, but so anyway, with this, I was excited about this. I was excited that Coalition, the talent they have, was potentially being applied to a new IP, right? And that was ran couple of channels already ran Outdoor, one of my favorite Xbox channels, podcast. He brings out good content. He made a video about it, so it was all good. I think it was excitement. What I appreciate with all the rumors and these little tidbits was the conversation was back to gaming. And I was enjoying that. I was enjoying that gamers were talking more about gaming than the usual power enhancements and 4K and this, that. It's old. Those topics are old anyway. But Microsoft came out with a clarification and completely denied that the Coalition is working on a new IP other than Gears of War. So apparently they're not. Statement was made. Pretty much it says Microsoft has. Oh wow, I'm going too fast for it. Okay. Microsoft has categorically denied the involvement of the Coalition in the development of a new IP. The studio was born with the aim of carrying on the franchise of Gears of War and will therefore continue to work exclusively on the series in question. Now, I don't understand that mindset. I don't get it. This studio is possibly the size of Naughty Dog, maybe even bigger, and have the same resources, if not more resources than Naughty Dog. And yet this studio can only exclusively make Gears of War or any game, Gears of War franchise game. That's all they can do. And I don't understand how that's even, I don't know how that's even economical, cost effective to utilize your talent pool just for one thing and one thing only. I really don't get it. Listen, I could understand some studios have to be that way for certain reasons. For example, Forza, Turn 10 Studios, and Polyphony Digital. For Turn 10 makes Forza Motorsport, the simulation series, and Polyphony Digital makes Gran Turismo, the simulation racers. I understand that because racing, car games in of themselves is an industry. So these developers, they learning two industries. One industry is the gaming, obviously. They're developing games. The other industry is racing. So they have to learn about performance of each individual car, how it turns, the acceleration and all that stuff. They have to learn about braking, and they have to take all that knowledge that, again, is an industry in of itself, professional car racing and car tinkering and all that stuff, modifications and all that stuff that pertains to car racing, because again, that's an industry in itself. Top Gear, Car and Driver, that's a job in the industry all on its own, let alone taking that industry of racing and applying it into a game and trying to create the real world physics and all that stuff, and the look in the cars and all that, So I understand that. Because these developers have to focus on two separate disciplines. The racing aspect they have to be a fan of, and then the game development. Okay, I get that. Another studio I can understand is the sports studios. The studio that's in charge of Madden from EA, I understand that's the only game they're really going to make. PlayStation, San Diego Studios. They're the ones that make MLB The Show. I understand they can't handle more than one IP. Especially when the IP you do make has to come out every year, because this is sports. It's an annual sports games. Sports games always come out every year. So they don't have time to worry about another project when they have to consistently release a game, and that game has to come out like in the same month all the time, every single year. And they have to always find a way, excuse me, they always have to find a way to make enhancements. Make it play better, animate better, new play calling techniques, all that stuff. So I get that. But Coalition, what they're doing is just a third-person shooter. A great third-person shooter, but it's a third-person shooter nonetheless. All right? It's not something as in-depth. Or I don't even want to say in-depth, but it's not the same as, again, what Turn 10 is responsible for, what Polyphony Digital is responsible for, or what San Diego Studios is responsible for. All right? I don't understand what's the problem with Coalition, and even I'm going to throw in 343, which is probably even a bigger studio, being able to handle multiple projects when it's already being done. All right? Again, Naughty Dog, they're handling multiple projects. They created multiple new IPs, They had Crash Bandicoot under their belt. They had Jak and Daxter under their belt. Then they went to Uncharted. Now they have The Last of Us, and most likely they'll be working on another IP, a futuristic sci-fi IP. I'll talk more about that in another video, because a lot of people ask me, how do I know about this? I'm gonna have to tell y'all the whole story on how I know. All right? And it's not because I have contacts or anything. I don't really have any, people. I don't have industry insiders. I'm not there yet, But we'll talk about that later. But you can clearly see how, other studios are handling dual projects. Even Naughty Dog. I mean, not Naughty Dog. Sucker Punch. Now they have a second project to handle, which is Ghost of Tsushima when they have Infamous. Hell, another one is Guerrilla. Guerrilla was in charge of Killzone, right? And not only while they were doing Killzone, because remember, Killzone came out like in 2013 and launched, and it was around the same time they started Horizon Zero Dawn, or they already started Horizon Zero Dawn. But not only were they developing Horizon Zero Dawn around the time, finishing up Killzone Shadowfall, but they created a new engine to make the game. So they created their own stuff. So they did more than just make a new IP. They're creating engines that even other people could use. For example, Kojima. The Death Stranding game is based on a Killzone engine, which is the Decima engine. Not Killzone engine, I'm sorry. It's based on Guerrilla's engine called the Decima engine. So not only did they make a new IP, they created a whole new generational engine. And I don't understand why this is so difficult to make the decision to say, hey, Coalition, you know, we're going to give you the green light to make a new IP, because I'm sure these guys have great ideas to implement in a game, you know? I'm sure they have vision. These guys are artists. I know they have something under their belt that they would love to push. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the ideas they have, they can't implement in Gears, because Gears is just not that type of game. So they need a whole new IP to truly, you know, flush out these brilliant ideas. See, this stagnates the industry. When you're just stuck doing one thing, that's called stagnation. You know, where's the creativity? Where's the imagination behind game development? I mean, I'm not saying Gears ain't a great game and that it shouldn't be made. It should be made. Continue to make the game, you know, just like Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 was made. But they're also making The Last of Us 2. And that's coming soon, you know, 2019 or so. You know, think about it this way. Come on, let's put Naughty Dog and Coalition side by side. They both released their big IP in May 2016. Naughty Dog launched Uncharted 4. A couple months later, in October 2016, Coalition launched Gears of War 4. Right? Cool. Now, for their next IP, and I'm not even going to talk about the Uncharted DLC. I'm not even going to talk about that. But for their next big IP, Naughty Dog is about to release The Last of Us 2. What is Coalition going to release? Another Gears. Like, when you hear that, doesn't that like when you sit back and you look, you're thinking, well, shit. You got two developers. Each developer released their big IP. One was Uncharted 4. The other developer released Gears of War 4. Now, the next project that's coming out for them, Naughty Dog is doing The Last of Us 2. But the other developer is releasing another Gears. And then wouldn't it be a slap in the face that shortly before or after The Last of Us 2 launches, Naughty Dog unveils their new IP? And what does Coalition unveil? Another Gears. At what point do you say enough? Again, I'm not saying Gears is a bad game. It's a great game. Probably one of the better games I enjoyed on the Xbox. But that's really all you're going to get. Like Gears. While another developer is switching it up. That's all it is. You know, Gears is a 360 game. Just like Uncharted was primarily a PS3 game. Now, The Last of Us launched on the PS3 as the last swan song. And that was only one, you know. This one, the second one, hopefully the PS4 takes it to a whole new level. It's really disheartening in this. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, at least we know we're going to get a new Gears. But let's be honest. If, let's say, Gears comes out in 2019 and The Last of Us 2 comes out in 2019, there's no question on who the main talent is. Like, you can't compare Coalition's talent with Naughty Dog. At that point, we're going to be careful. Once again, we're going to compare just like 2016, where people were going head to head with Uncharted 4 and Gears of War 4, you know, for fun, you know, friendly competition and all that. I'm not even going to entertain that in 2019. Again, I'm not saying Gears is a bad game, but I'm not going to entertain no arguments or discussions on Twitter of head-to-head The Last of Us 2 versus Gears of War 4. The way I see it, Naughty Dog's on their own. No, Naughty Dog is on an upper level. They're on a different tier than Coalition. Coalition is not on the same tier. Because we're not going to do a 2019 Gears of War 5 versus The Last of Us 2. Nah. Gears of, you know, Coalition stuck just doing that? Well, that's the box. If that's what Microsoft wants to do, fine. Stay in your box. Stay in your lane. You don't get to be in this tier. You don't get to be compared to developers like Naughty Dog, which push the boundaries, able to have creativity. You know what I'm saying? At this point, Yo, if it wasn't for the fact that Killzone was such an average, mediocre franchise, you know, I mean, Killzone 2 was decent. It was pretty good, but it wasn't a big franchise. It's a big franchise, I guess, in the sense that they kept trying, they kept pushing it, but it's really not. You know, but if Killzone would have been a more prolific franchise, you know, like a really, really good first-person shooter, I mean, again, it doesn't have to rival Halo, but, you know, be better than what it is known now. Like, is, you know, is one of, you know, people, if Killzone was the type of game where people looked at it as like, man, that's like a really good first-person shooter that PlayStation has. If Killzone was that type of franchise, I would say Guerrilla's better than fucking Coalition. It's only the fact that really, the really, really great game Guerrilla made, to me, you know, is obviously Horizon Zero Dawn. An amazing game. A new IP. And they built an engine for it, you know? And if Sony allows Guerrilla to continue its creativity, Guerrilla could potentially end up being better than a better studio than Coalition. This thing right here where this thing is not even moving. I don't know what to do now. But this thing where the studio, well, how can I put it, man? This thing is, you could tell I'm already spent on this. This is really disheartening. It's right here. The studio was born with the aim of carrying on the franchise of Gears of War, and will therefore continue to work exclusively on the series. Like, listen, I can understand the studio being created because Gears of War, you know, with the focus on, you know, I ain't gonna say the focus on, but to carry the franchise, you know, to continue the franchise as a long-term project. No one's arguing that Coalition don't hold that responsibility close to the heart, close to the chest. No one's saying that. Continue on with that franchise. But this franchise is big enough and has the resources to start a new IP. Like right after or close to the ending of Gears of War 4, they should have been working on a new IP. Right after. In 2016. And that should have been your next title. And then when that title is close to ending, that's when you start working on Gears of War 5. One, it gives the franchise a break. It's not Gears. It's a break. You know, you extend the break, yet the studio themselves is still delivering content to the fans and a quality product that's profitable for Microsoft. It's a win situation, you know? And then you give Gears the breathing room so that way when you release Gears 5, it's like, you know, a game that hasn't been around for like 4 or 5 years. You know, it's been a while. So people are really going to go after it. But at the same time, no one's really starving for it because they had a new IP in between the Gears game. You understand what I'm saying? It's a win for everybody. And this really just I don't know. I mean, good on Microsoft, I guess, you know, for the Gears fans, you know you're getting another Gears. You know, I don't know when, but you're going to get another Gear. That is Coalition's next game, Gears. And when that game is done, you know, when Gears 5 comes out and you're enjoying it, guess what's Coalition's next game? Gears. And it's going to be another Gears. And it's going to be another Gears. You know? And hopefully that franchise has legs where it will always be successful. Because the day the franchise is not successful, the day the franchise doesn't make profit, the day the franchise, you know, is considered stale, God forbid it ever comes to that. But if that franchise ever gets to that point, Coalition's done because they can't do anything else because they weren't built to do anything else. So they'll just disappear. They'll be closed down. And that's not a good long-term strategy. Can't put all your eggs in a basket. Or not even. This is a basket with just one egg. And, you know, I don't know. It ain't the end of the world. You know, I guess, you know, a new Gears will come out when it comes out. And when they're done with that, it'll be another Gears and so on. So, and I guess 343, you can forget about them doing anything other than Halo. So you got two major studios that both are probably bigger in terms of manpower and budget, bigger than Naughty Dog. Again, in terms of manpower and budget, yet they can't keep up. I think they're definitely bigger than Guerrilla in terms of manpower and budget. And yet somehow Guerrilla not only made a new IP, but they made an engine. Next generation engine for this, for the current gen, to take advantage of PlayStation 4, and bring out the best quality games they can. And this blows my mind, And what's sad is there's Xbox gamers that are happy about this. They're happy with mediocrity in terms of potential of what the studio could do. And this is a studio that was called Black Tusk. So they had a game they were working on, that Shanghai Nights or whatever. Oh, man, I don't know. So you guys tell me what you think about this. Hit up the comment section. How you feel about this? Are you happy that they're just focusing on this one thing and that's all they're focusing on? Or would you have appreciated them expanding their library, expanding their creativity and imagination, which ultimately could have resulted in a new IP for the Xbox platform? So let me know what you think. Sorry this video sounds like a downer, but it is what it is. If you're new to the channel, most of my videos are pretty more upbeat, but I hope you enjoyed it in terms of just the information and stuff. And make sure you hit me up in the comment section, hit me up with a follow on Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you do subscribe, be part of the family. And everyone hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that like button. Spread the knowledge and push it out on social media and Twitter. And I appreciate the support in the channel, man. You guys are all awesome. You all my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. This is your boy Porter Rock 77, and I'm out. You take care. Peace.